Hey Hofstra fans, welcome inside this week's edition of the Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com. I'm Tom Brady, now joined by head coach of the Hofstra Wrestling Team, Rob Anspach. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Coach, 27-6 victory over Army at Crystal Arena. What are your quick thoughts on how the match went?
I thought the guys did a really good job. They put forth a great effort. Obviously, when we went up there, the goal was to go 10-0. Nearly got to that, 8-2. But overall, I was really happy with the way they performed. Even the matches that we lost, I thought the guys went out there and really competed very hard. And we just came back with a couple more things to work on and some really good signs.
At 125, Steve Nano. Maybe his only knock this year has been sometimes getting behind early in matches. This time jumps out all over his guy, 4-1 lead, and route to a 14-5 major decision.
Yeah, Steve's been, he continued exactly where he left off in the Las Vegas tournament. He went out there, had a really hard first period, and he was struggling to, I don't want to say he was struggling, he was really working hard to get the guy's rest and to kind of wear the guy down. The guy did a good job the first period, but Steve was just kind of relentless, and as the match wore on, the guy got a little bit tired, and we were able to start turning them and getting our back points, in the second and third period. So just an outstanding job by Steve wrestling the whole 7 minutes.
At 133, Jamie Franco winds up getting a late takedown for a 2-1 victory over a guy ranked top 25 in some of the polls. How big was this victory for him?
That was a good win for Jamie. For a confidence standpoint, just letting him know that, hey, I can wrestle with these guys. He's been close against a lot of the top competition, but he's always been on the losing end, 2-1, 3-2, 6-5, whatever it may be. For him to pull out a win like this is just going to help him get to that next level and say, hey, you know what, I really do belong here. I can win at this level, and it should help him, going into the Southern Scuffle.
At 141 and 149, we fight Justin Acardino. Both of those guys obviously having great starts to the season. They just kind of keep rolling and really put your team up with a big lead in this match.
Yeah, they did an outstanding job. Luke went out there against a kid that's a little funky and stuff like that. And he was in on a couple shots. We didn't finish him, but he didn't get discouraged. He just continued to stay with the game plan, continued to attack. And as the match wore on, he wore the kid down, and all of a sudden those takedowns start happening. And Justin did the same thing. He really did a great job on top, really kind of breaking the kid's spirit, re-dropping him and lifting him, putting him back down. And again, the team did a really nice job overall with doing those things.
Now, it took until the 157 match for Armin to even get their first takedown of the match. Led to a loss for Banks. So what went wrong for him in that match?
Tyler he went out, he wrestled hard. He just was not offensive enough. And that's what we talked about on the bus right after the match, was the guys that went out there and kind of dictated the pace, they all won. The guys that kind of were there, and he was hand fighting hard, but he didn't really get any shots off. And that's the difference at this level. You've got to be attacking your opponent. You can't just be hand fighting and doing all setups. And I thought we had about 3 or 4 opportunities that if we would have taken shots, we would have been in deep. Well, you have to finish those positions, but it would have at least put us on the offensive. I thought we were way too defensive in his match.
And PJ Gillespie continues the winning ways. A big major decision for him over Greasy.
Yeah, he's doing a great job just continuing what we ask him to do, which is go out there and score points and continue to build his lead. I don't want to see him winning 3-2. He's too good of a wrestler. He's too good on his feet to win matches that close. So just go out there and dominate the guys from start to finish, and that's what he did. And that's all you can ask him to do.
At 174, Jermaine John gives up a couple of points late in the third period, winds up dropping that match 4-3. You talked about it a little bit last week. What's the key to getting Jermaine back to that good start, that impressive start that he had? Yeah,
Jermaine's just, he's making a couple stupid mistakes out there is really what it comes down to. And I'm kind of sick of saying it because it always seems like we're saying it, and eventually he's going to have to stop making those freshman mistakes. He's been in the program for about 4 months now. It's time to start winning these matches, and that was definitely a match he needs to win. He was wrestling the guy. He didn't have that clock going on in his head. He gave up a stalling point and then let the kid out for basically a two-point escape, and that was the difference in the match, 4-3. And you just can't do that. We talked to him afterwards, and then, again, he was not as aggressive on his feet, and he's standing around, and we had 40 seconds. We're down 4-3, and we had 40 seconds to win the match, and we take a shot with 5 seconds left. We get in very deep, but we don't give ourselves any time to finish it, and you can't do those things. So Jermaine needs to go out there and take control of matches early on. He did that in the beginning of the year. He won. He hasn't done it lately, and he's losing. And not an easy thing to correct because things can start to snowball. If you start losing, you start getting down on yourself. So we just kind of have to watch that aspect of it, keep them positive, but let them know that, hey, it's also not acceptable to go out there and be losing the kids you're better than.
Now, that was the last match that you lost in that dual match, and continued on next with Ben Clymer. Tight 2-1 victory, but still.
Yeah, it was a 2-1 victory. It was a controlled 2-1. You know, we gave up an escape, 20 seconds left. The kid, we were never really in too much danger of the kids scoring, but again, we don't like to see matches that close. We're a better wrestler than him. Than our opponent, and we need to go out there and score points and make it not as close. I always tell the guys, you're not only wrestling for this match, you're wrestling for if you ever run into this kid again, and you want him to know that he has no chance of beating you. You leave a match 2-1, he thinks he can win, and we don't want to leave it. We don't want that impression on him. Matt Lowe did a great job then coming out there, getting the first takedown, and then really, you know, wrestling well throughout the 7 minutes. I would like to see him finish a little bit stronger, but I thought overall from him, it was a good effort. He had been struggling a little bit, so for him to come out and get a victory was a nice change. So we need to build off of that moving in towards the Southern Scuffle.
And for Paul Snyder, not the tournament that you wanted from him from Cliff Keen, but he comes out and has a major decision against him.
Paul did a great job. This was the first time I've seen him really looking to build his lead in the third period. He was letting the guy up and scoring takedowns, and that's what we want to see out of him. We've been stressing it to him, and he's kind of taking that to heart, and in the practice room he's taking more shots, he's doing more things, and it's like, and we tell him, say, you know what, it doesn't matter if you get taken down in practice, it's going to help you in matches, and I think he started seeing some results with that the other day. He felt confident on his feet, letting the guy up and scoring takedowns, and now we just need to continue that moving forward as we get into some tougher competition.
Now, coming up, some of that tougher competition right at the start of the new year, the Southern Scuffle. First year it's at University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, but competition's still the same, 5 teams in the top 15. What are you expecting to see?
Oh, it's the same thing. We go out there, we need to perform. I expect our guys to wrestle for 7 minutes. I don't care who they're wrestling, what the guy's ranked, what he's seeded. If he's not ranked, you got to go out there, and the guys you're supposed to beat, you got to put it on them right away so they don't think they can wrestle with you. And the guys that on paper you're not supposed to beat, you got to go out there and rise to the occasion. And we want guys coming home with, you know, we want some champions. We haven't had a champion yet. Well, actually, PJ won the first tournament, but we didn't have anybody at the Cliff Keen. We had a second and a third and an eighth. So I want guys to come home with some trophies and win some titles, and I want to just see our guys improve from their performance at the Cliff Keen, where we ran into some good competition, and some of the guys didn't wrestle up to their expectations. I want to see them go down there and wrestle up to their ability.
And how valuable will it be, having already competed in Cliff Keen? You mentioned at the high level, and of course the 2-day format.
Yeah, it's an important thing to get that tournament out of you. Obviously, the national tournament is a 3-day tournament, so this is just another preparation for that, on making weight 2 days in a row and getting your warm-up in the tournament, and you know, making sure you're ready for every single match, because sometimes there's guys you don't really know who they are, but they can sneak up on you. So it's just, again, everything's preparation for the end of the year, and this will be a good challenge, and we'll be able to come back from that tournament, hopefully, with a lot of positive, but I'm sure we're going to come back there with a lot of things to work on as well.
All right, Coach Rob Anspach, thanks for joining us inside this week's edition of the Coach Report on GoHofstra.com.
Thank you.